Hello and welcome to the very first candle of this year's Swarmit Appvent. I'm Brian, I'm an Atlassian Consultant here at Swarmit, and in the next couple of days and weeks in December we are going to unwrap some of the best tools within the Atlassian ecosystem that help your team to work smarter. To kick things off this year, we are starting with the biggest topic of the year, which is obviously AI, but not just generic AI. Instead we are talking about Atlassian Rovo. And specifically today we will focus on how to build an agent that acts as an actual teammate and that can actually take over tasks within your service project. Within IT service management projects we see a common bottleneck, which is the triage of new tickets. So when a new ticket hits your service desk, someone has to obviously read it, categorize it, assign urgency and impact, and route it to the right team. Obviously this is a manual and repetitive task which takes over quite some time. And it also leads to inconsistent data because one agent might call the incident critical and another calls it medium. So this manual triage slows down your resolution time and it also messes up your reporting data. But what if we could clone your best teammate and make them review your ticket instantly? That's actually one thing we will focus on today because our agent will exactly do that. So first of all, we will focus on Rovo is Atlassian's AI engine built on the teamwork graph. It sees your Jira data, your Confluence pages, and also your source code from Bitbucket. While Rovo can do search and chat out of the box, we will focus on Rovo Agents today. You can think of an agent not as a chatbot, but instead as a specialized worker. We can give the agent context, maybe access to a specific runbook. We can give the agent permissions, so the ability to edit fields, to create pages, or to search issues. And we can also give the agent instructions. So strict rules on how to behave and how to handle the request. So that's a quick wrap up on the Rovo agents. So I would say let's jump into the system and show you what our ITSM triage agent can do. Okay, so as you can see, I'm inside our Jira site here. We have the ELF support portal, and if I go inside the project, you can see that we have a couple of queues available. So obviously we have the triage queue, so any new ticket that comes into the service project will land here. Someone will have to take a look and then do the triage. On top of that we have, in this case, a Teams support team queue. Every ticket that has been triaged and has the right fields and values will land here. So the, in this case, Teams support team can take a look and can actually take over the incidents. So currently the agent is not enabled. So if I go to the portal, report a system problem, so this will be an incident, I put in some demo content in here. So in this case, we are talking about a Teams audio problem. And in the ticket, I talk about that the problem is happening since this morning. If I join the Teams call, I have audio cuts. My colleagues hear me and I sound like a robot. I also put in that I know that at least 2 other colleagues have the same problem within Teams. In this case, I will leave the affected service and all other fields empty. So in this case, I will click on send. The ticket will be created. And as currently the agent is not enabled, I can go to the service project and the ticket will be within the triage queue. So as you can see, the ticket is now here. We have the key present for, and if I open it, we can see that the information is there. So now in a typical ITSM setup, someone has to go through that. So normally that would be someone from the first level support. So in this case, I will go through the ticket. I would have to read the description. I would have to decide which application or service is affected. And I will also have to decide which urgency and impact this issue will have. And here we come to the first problem. Someone would say, okay, this is not urgent and not bringing a big impact. But on the other hand, someone would say it is really urgent and it brings a big impact. In this case, I know that the problem is about Microsoft Teams. So I would go to the affected application. I would say this is about Microsoft Teams. And also I would have to take a look at the issue and how big is the urgency. In this case, maybe I would say low, and the impact is also minor. Now we have triaged the issue. And if we go back to the queues, you will see that the triage queue now is empty and the ticket moved to the right queue, which is actually the Teams support team. And now the triage is done and the team can take over the request. So if we go to the project settings or the space settings and we go to automation, we have 2 trigger rules that will communicate with the agent. And I will enable both of them right now. So now we can go back to the portal and create a new request with the agent enabled. So in the portal, you see I have the same information here. I have the summary and a description about the Teams problem, and I know that at least 2 colleagues have the same problem. And now the ticket is created. I can go and view it from the internal view, and you will see that the agent is now already been triggered. So if I reload the page, you can see that the affected application has been set from the agent. So it's about Microsoft Teams. That's right. We have the urgency, which is low. I would say that's also okay for this issue. And we also have the impact, which is moderate or limited, because we know that we and also 2 other colleagues have the problem. So I think this is also okay in this case. So you can see the issue was created, the agent took over the triage, and the incident directly visible within the right queue. The team can directly take over resolving the incident. So let's say we have another issue and we will remove the affected application here. So another way to trigger the agent would be to directly mention it in the comments. So if we go to our ticket, if I go in here and remove the affected application, I can go to the comments, I can add an internal note, I can mention the ITSM triage agent, and I can say re-triage the incident, for example. And with that mention, we can actually trigger the agent. So he will now go through it again and will adjust the affected application back to Teams. You can see it's already there. And if you want to take a look how that looks in the Rovo Studio, we can go to our navigator and switch to the studio, and you will see that we have our agent here, which is the ITSM triage agent. Inside the studio we have created different scenarios. So for each task that the agent has to take over, or for each case where we expect a different outcome, we have a scenario for, and within the scenario, for example the affected application, we have the instructions for the agent. So first of all, we have the trigger, which will trigger the agent to start the scenario. And we also have the instructions where we give the agent the purpose. We tell the agent how he should behave. We tell the agent what he should produce, and we give them some examples how the output should look. So in this case, we just want the application name, and the agent will actually give us just the application name. And down here we have some boundaries and some tone examples for the agent. So the agent will always behave and reply in the way we want it to do. And we have that for each scenario. So we have one for the affected application, we have one for the impact, and one for the urgency. That's the agent setup in the background. And normally Rovo agents cannot adjust custom fields at the moment. So to have a workaround for that, we can go to the project and we have some automation rules here. Basically, we have 2 rules for the 2 triggers we saw. So one for the issue creation and one for the comment mention. And the rule will actually just trigger the agent. It will give the agent the prompt to start, for example, the affected application detection. And we can also give the agent some information. In this case, it's the summary, the description, and the report. So that's enough for the agent to start the scenario, to analyze the content, and then reply with the expected outcome that we give the agent in the instruction. So in this case, we have the affected application detection, and we will get back the affected application name. In the next step, we have the edit work item, and here we will just take the agent response, which is just the application name, and we will set it to the field. And obviously you can adapt this to any field type. In this case, it's just a select field, but we can also use asset fields or any other field type. So we have this thing for every field. So the impact, the urgency, the priority, and the affected application. And we have copied that rule with a different trigger. So when the agent is mentioned in a comment, it will also restart the triage. By deploying this agent, we will obviously have 3 main benefits. The first one would be a consistent triage. So the agent will always apply the same rules with the same boundaries we gave them in the instruction. So the agent will always triage the issue on the same way. So we will have a standardized way to categorize and triage our tickets. The next benefit would be a faster resolution time. Obviously, the ticket gets created. The agent will triage the ticket instantly, and it will also land within the correct queue basically immediately. Another benefit we have would be that we have better data. So because we have a standardized way to triage the ticket, the categorization will be more accurate, the impact, the urgency will be more accurate, and also the affected application. So that will also help our reporting to get better outcomes and to have a more reliable report within the service project. And regarding security, Rovo obviously runs on Atlassian Cloud. your data is private and mapped to your Jira data residency. One thing to mention is that the data sent to LLMs is not used to train public models, and the agent will always respect the user's Jira or Confluence permissions. Yeah, so Rovo is here. Rovo is ready to help your team to stop drowning in manual tasks. You can take this process and adapt it to any workflow. We also have some multi-agent workflow concepts ready. If you want to set up your first agent or you need help within Jira or Confluence, just reach out to us at Swarmit, and make sure to tune in the next video next week where my colleague Wilf will take over the part and he will show you how to take the clean data we have created in this video and how to use it to visualize it beautifully using EasyBI. In this case, I would say thank you for watching the first video in our Appvent series for this year, and I wish you Merry Christmas.